Hi folks, my name is Adenka Grandson. Today I am going to show you how the Yoruba nation has been conquered by the Hausa Fulani nation. The federal government of Nigeria gets 90% of its revenue from 7 major sources. And I'm going to mention all the major sources. The number one source of revenue for the federal government of Nigeria is the NNPC. The NNPC gets its revenue from royalty from oil, obviously, from rents and petroleum fines and fees. Every year, on the average, NNPC generates about 3 trillion naira. 80% of this money comes from the South-South region. The remaining 20% comes from the Southwest, predominantly Yoruba people. There is no significant revenue that is coming from the Igbo region because their states, be it Imo, Abia, or Anambra, they are all prospecting states, not oil producing states per se. So 80% of the revenue of the NNPC comes from the South-South. The remaining 20% comes from the Yoruba nation. There is no single kobo into the NNPC revenue that is coming from the north, be it the northwest of the Hausa Fulani land, or the northeast of Kanuri land, or the middle belt north central. There is nothing that the north, the entire 3 regions of the north, is contributing to the NNPC revenue. But every year when NNPC makes 3 trillion naira, the north get the lion's share, yet they contribute nothing to the revenue of the NNPC. That is the number one source of revenue for the federal government of Nigeria. The number 2 source of revenue for the federal government of Nigeria is the Nigerian Customs Service. Nigeria Customs Service gets its revenue from import duties. So 90% of the Nigerian Customs Service revenue comes from Yoruba land. The remaining 10%, 5% is coming from the South-South, and the remaining 5% is coming across from the North. Nothing in terms of the Nigerian Customs Service is essentially generated from Igbo land. Only 5% of the Nigerian custom revenue is generated from the entire north, be it the northwest of the Hausa Fulani land, or the northeast of the Kanuri land, or the middle belt. So the Yoruba nation are generating 90% of the revenue of the Nigerian custom. So when this money goes to Abuja at the end of the year, Hausa Fulani, the Kanuri people, and the middle belt, they get the lion's share on something they are only contributing 5% to. The Yoruba that is contributing 9% to the revenue of the custom don't get anything compared to what the North is getting. So this is the fraud we're talking about. The third sources of revenue of the federal government is the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Every year, about 8 trillion naira is generated by the Federal Inland Revenue Services. And this money comes from corporate income tax, withholding tax, education tax, technology tax, stamp duties, and other taxes, and value-added tax and other taxes. Every year, Federal Inland Revenue Service generates 8 trillion naira. Yoruba alone is contributing 80% of this 8 trillion naira. Yoruba alone. 12% of the Federal Inland Revenue Service is coming from the north. The 3 geopolitical regions from the north, the Hausa Fulani northwest, the Kanuri northeast, and the middle belt north central. The Yoruba alone is contributing 80% of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. The remaining 8%, after the contribution of 12% of the north, the remaining 8% is the contribution of the South-South and the Southeast. At the end of the day, all the money will go to Abuja. When Abuja is sharing this money, Abuja will tell you that the Hausa Fulani has more states, the Hausa Fulani has more local government, the Hausa Fulani has more fake population than the Yoruba, so they get the lion's share. They get the lion's share from a revenue they have contributed next to nothing to. This is a fraud. They have seen the Yoruba nation as idiots, as stupid people. Particularly our youth are gullible. They don't understand this. Why would the Yoruba nation contribute 80% of the revenue of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, but at the end of the day, they will get meager amount from the federal government because they don't have the same number of states as the Hausa Fulani, because they don't have the same number of local government as the Hausa Fulani, because they don't have the fake population that the census figure we have in Nigeria. Who created the states in Nigeria? Hausa Fulani. Who created the local government? Hausa Fulani. This is going to be a topic for another day because this is something the Yoruba you do not understand. The Yoruba you don't understand that the British, the German, and the French divided Yoruba land into 3 countries. They divided Yoruba into partly Benin Republic, partly Togo, and partly Nigeria. And the states we have in Yoruba land now, be it Lagos State, be it Ogun State, Osun State, Ekiti State, Kwara, Kogi State, they were created for the Yoruba by the Hausa Fulani. So this is how you define a slave. Yoruba cannot even create their own identity. The identity was created for them by Hausa Fulani by creating states. Initially, the British colonial Turks, the German colonial Turks, the French colonial Turks divided Yoruba into 3 countries. So if the Yoruba want to say, oh, we are the most educated out of Africa, we have to harness all of these 3 divisions back into one strong Oduduwa nation. But we're not thinking like that. Let me just remind you that the same way the Yoruba were colonized by the British colonial Turks, the same British colonial Turks also colonized the Chinese. But today, the British cannot only to China. China defeat one in any war. So that people colonize forever could make sense. China is now a world power and a superpower and saying, but it was once colonized by the British colonial Turks. But today they are superpower. So that is just by the way. So you can imagine that Federal Inland Revenue Service, the revenue this agency generated every year about 8 trillion naira. The Yoruba alone contributes 80% of this money. But every month when we take this money to Abuja and then we are sharing it, Hausa Fulani contribute next to nothing will get the lion's share, because Hausa Fulani political leaders have created more states for themselves, they've created more local government to themselves, and they are even giving you fake population. Everybody knows in the world that Lagos is the most populated space in Africa. Believe me, Lagos is it. But the Nigerian census figure is still telling us that Kano is more populated than Lagos. You see, these are bullshit that the gullible Yoruba youth have adopted. So let me go to number 4 sources of revenue. It's called Nigeria Port Authority. Nigeria Port Authority gets revenue from concessionaire handling the terminal ports. They get revenue from shipping and harbor due. So when a ship comes to dock in the Nigeria waterways, they pay money. That is this. That is how the Nigerian Port Authority gets money. But Hausa Fulani kolo lomi, ile Yoruba lomi wa, kò sómi ní north. So 10 trillion the Nigerian Port Authority generate in a year. 10 trillion. Because Hausa Fulani kolo generate 10 trillion here. Yoruba lo generate 10 trillion here. 90% of the Nigerian Port Authority revenue comes from Yoruba land. The remaining 10% comes from South. Kò sómi ní north. There is no one single contribution of the Igbo or the Hausa Fulani to the Nigerian Port Authority. Yoruba no know me. So that 10 trillion the Nigerian Port Authority generate by the time about day Abuja Barabai, Hausa Fulani lo ma balance share, because àwọn ló ní more state jù, àwọn ló ní more local government jù, àwọn ló ní more fake population jù. Yoruba to generate owó kò benefit ẹ. Yoruba máa pariwo wá láwọn ni the most educated out of Africa. No, you are not. You are just gullible. That is a plain truth. You are just gullible. So that is the number 4 sources of revenue of the federal government, the Nigerian Port Authority, in which case about 10 trillion is generated every year, in which 90% of this 10 trillion is generated by the Yoruba people. But benefit wa tó bá ti dá Abuja àwọn olórí burúkú gàmbàrí ló benefit. Wọ́n ti rí wa bí ẹrú. But there will always be one generation that changed the course of history. It is our generation. So the number 5 sources of revenue is the CBN. CBN, báwo ni CBN ṣe generate owó? Ṣorí gbogbo VAT tó ń gbà ní Nigeria, gbogbo education tax tó ń gbà ní Nigeria, gbogbo direct sales of crude oil, royalty tó ń gbà lórí oil, everything owó CBN non bank ẹ̀ sí. So CBN trade with the money. Ó máa earn interest lórí ẹ̀. Wàá realize pé 60% of the interest tí CBN earn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà ti rí. Jẹ́ kí n fún yín secret kan. To bá ka report to CBN, annual reports of the CBN, wọ́n ní pé 75% of all bank branches tó wà ní Nigeria ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà wà. Ṣé mo nǹkan tí yẹn ní? 75% gbogbo banks pátápátá branches wọn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà kọ́ wọn sí. That means pé Yorùbá ló generate 75% of all the savings in Nigeria. So tí Igbo bá yí lọ sí bank kan tó bá lọ yáwó 75% of owó tó yá Yorùbá ló ní. Táwùsá bá lọ yáwó ní bank bóun fẹ́ fi ṣòwò 75% of that money Yorùbá ló ní, because 75% of all bank branches ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà wà. So àwa là ń contribute savings ní Nigeria. Jẹ́ kí n sọ nǹkan kan fún ẹ, wọ́n pe ibìkan ní wọ́n pe kíní kan ní Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission. Àwọn ló máa ń register àwọn companies tó bá wá sí Nigeria, foreign companies, be it companies tó wà láti America àbí tó wà láti Europe àbí tó wà láti Asia, tó máa ń register àwọn sí Nigeria. Ṣé o mọ̀ nǹkan tó sọ nínú report wọn tí mo kà some few months back? 90% of all of these investors that are coming to Nigeria to invest, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá no invest sí. Kí ló tó fi invest ilẹ̀ Yorùbá? You understand? Because there is human capital development nílẹ̀ Yorùbá and there is security of life and property. Wọ́n invest sí Kanuri land because àwọn youth wọ́n ṣe Boko Haram. Wọ́n invest sí Hausa Fulani land because àwọn youth wọ́n lọ school, wọ́n ní dysfunctional family tó ń pè ní almanjiri, wọ́n kàn bára wọn sùn, wọ́n bímọ jọ bí eku ẹ̀dá. Wọ́n lọ invest, foreign investors tó ń bọ̀ sí Nigeria, wọ́n lọ invest sí ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ọmọ Igbo because kidnappers, àwọn youth kidnapping náà ṣe. Wọ́n lọ invest sí south region because àwọn youth tẹ́ máa ń like láti pè ní militant. They are not militant, they are freedom fighters, because I have a couple of friends who are very sophisticated guys tó young bí èmi báyìí tó determine láti kojú Nigerian government because ọ̀sán àwọn ò ní gbà kan máa jí resources àwọn. Notwithstanding, tó bá tí foreign investor bá wá tó bá lọ sí south, there's a possibility báwọn boys máa kidnap ẹ, and what they need legitimate reason to do that. But tó bá wá sílẹ̀ Yorùbá, àwọn Yorùbá youth ń lọ school, wọ́n kàwé, wọ́n ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Now tó bá wá dá business sílẹ̀ tán, tó bá make profit, tó máa san tax in federal government, ṣé o mọ bí tax yẹn máa lọ ṣá? Ó máa lọ sí Abuja ni. Yorùbá youth tó ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ tó ń lọ school, tax yẹn ò ní ṣàǹfààní fún. Àwọn ọmọ olórí burúkú Boko Haram ní tax máa ṣàǹfààní fún. Àwọn youth Boko Haram ló bà north east jẹ́. Owó òun náà fẹ́ fi jẹ, owó òun náà fẹ́ fi tún north east ṣe ń sìn. Owó VAT tó ń generate nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ṣé wọ́n pé the other time senator Remi Tinubu sọ pé at least kọ́ máa fún Lagos state ní 1% of the VAT tó ń generate lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Ṣé wọ́n bá àwọn Gàmbàrí vote against it? Nígbà táwọn Gàmbàrí fẹ́ vote fún Development Commission of the North East, wọ́n vote kí wọ́n máa lo 3% owó VAT tó ń generate nílẹ̀ Yorùbá kan fún máa tún North East ṣe. Ibi tí mo ti sọ pé Yorùbá youth gullible nìyẹn. Ẹ ń ṣe jẹ́jẹ́, ẹ ń lọ sí school, owó tó ń generate ní region ní kò ṣàǹfààní fún yín, ẹ ń sá lọ sílùú òyìnbó, ẹ lọ ń ṣiṣẹ́ òṣì, ẹ máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bú òyìnbó. Tí White America bá rí bí Yorùbá ni tán bàlú yẹn jẹ́ mọ́ wọn lórí, báwo la yí àwọn White America sì fẹ́ dà? Tí English bá rí bí Yorùbá leaders tán bàlú wọn jẹ́ mọ́ wọn lórí, báwo la yí àwọn ọmọ English ṣe fẹ́ dà? So these are just by the way tí mo ń sọ fún ẹ, the CBN hence income, 60% of the CBN incomes come from Yoruba land. The remaining 40% is essentially coming from the south because it is the sales from crude oil, sales from royalty, gas flaring penalty. Gbogbo owó tí federal government gbà wọ́n kó sínú CBN bank, CBN dẹ̀ ń lò láti trade. So Yorùbá tó ń generate 60% of CBN interest tó yẹ bá dé Abuja, ọmọ Gàmbàrí ló máa benefit. Wọ́n láwọn ló ní more state jù, wọ́n láwọn ló ní more local government jù, wọ́n láwọn ló ní more fake population. Ayé Yorùbá wọn bàjẹ́. Yorùbá lè lánàá gbàgbà pé we are the most educated out of Africa, we are very smart, we are doing this, we are doing that. Number 6 sources of revenue for the federal government is the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA náà ń pè. Every year NIMASA generate about 100 billion naira yearly. Ṣé wọ́n bí wọ́n ti rí owó yẹn? Ṣé wọ́n àwọn ship vessel tó bá wá dock sílé ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà, wọ́n máa ń san 3% of their worth of goods náà wọ́n ń sọ fún NIMASA. Ibi tán ń wá sí, tán wá ń páàkì ship wọn sí, tán ń dock ẹ̀ sí, kì í ṣe ilẹ̀ Haúsá, kì í ṣe ilẹ̀ Igbo, kì í ṣe ilẹ̀ Kanuri, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ló ń ṣe sí. Impact yẹn Yorùbá ló ń fi ilẹ̀. But tán bá generate 100 billion ton every year, wọ́n kó yẹn lọ sí Abuja. Abuja wá sọ fún wa pé Hausa ló ní more state, Hausa ló ní more local government, Hausa ló ní more population. Wọ́n wá fún Hausa lówó tán generate nílẹ̀ Yorùbá wá fún wa. Kí wọ́n ń pè lẹ́rú? Nǹkan tó ń pè lẹ́rú nìyẹn. Tó bá try ẹ pẹ̀lú white English, wọ́n máa bá anybody jà to the wall, to the end rather. O ò lè try insult yẹn pẹ̀lú white Americans. so nǹkan tí mo ṣe ń sọ fún Yorùbá youth ni pé ẹ gullible but ẹ mọ̀ pé gullible ẹ kàn máa ń sọ pé sórí tẹ́ ẹ máa ń kàwé tẹ́ ẹ ń kó certificate jọ kò ṣàǹfààní fún yín kéèyàn mú yín lẹ́rú àwọn Haúsá sọ yín lẹ́rú. So the next one, the seventh sources of revenue for the federal government is the Nigerian liquefied natural gas, LNG. No wọ́n pè bìkan ní River State ní Bonny Kingdom, ibẹ̀ nìkan náà ti ń sanwó natural gas yẹn. 300 billion every year ní Bonny Kingdom tó ń generate fún federal government. Gbogbo owó yẹn Abuja ló ń lọ. Tó bá dé Abuja tán àwọn ọmọ Haúsá ló ń benefit. Because according to number of state, number of local government and population figure, at a landmass, so lórí burúkú làwọn Gàmbàrí yẹn wọ́n mú Yorùbá lẹ́rú gan o, so wọ́n gbé Yorùbá lómi àwọn nílẹ̀, ṣé wọ́n ń fomi pín owó? No, but wọ́n ń filẹ̀ pín owó ní Nàìjíríà, landmass. Yorùbá wá pariwo, we are the most educated, I've got PhD, òpònú dìdìrìn. Gbogbo bí tí mo ti ṣiṣẹ́ lu òyìnbó mi ni mo ní education jù, masters péré ni mo ní òyìnbó ń kàwé bí wèrè bí Yorùbá ṣe ń kàwé yẹn. Wọ́n kàn máa kàwé lọ bí wèrè ṣe olóṣì ẹ̀rẹ̀ kàwé gan lójú but Gàmbàrí gbogbo òwe tẹ̀ka Gàmbàrí fi ń rule in. So these are the 7 major sources of income of the federal government. Gàmbàrí ò contribute anything. NNPC Gàmbàrí ò contribute a dime to the revenue but àwọn ló ń gba lion shares. Nigerian Customs Service Yorùbá nìkan ló ń contribute more than 90% of the Nigerian Customs Service. More than 90% but Gàmbàrí ló ń gba the lion share. So about the Federal Inland Revenue Service, which is the third sources of revenue for the federal government, 80% of the revenue of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Yorùbá ló ń contribute. But owó yẹn bá dé Abuja, àwọn ọmọ Haúsá ló ń gba lion shares. Kí ló tó fẹ́ sọ? NPA ló fẹ́ sọ number 4, Nigerian Port Authority. Wọ́n generate about 10 trillion every year. Yorùbá ló ń contribute 90%. Tí 10 trillion yẹn bá dé Abuja, Haúsá ló ń benefit. Wọ́n ní wọ́n ní more state jù yín lọ, wọ́n ní wọ́n ní more local government jù yín lọ, wọ́n ní wọ́n ní more population jù yín lọ, fake. Wọ́n ní wọ́n ní more land jù yín lọ. Owó tẹ́ generate nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, ọmọ Haúsá ló ń benefit. Number 5 is the CBN interest. 60% of the revenue of the CBN, Yorùbá ni. For imagine you have the 75% of all bank branches in Nigeria. Ẹ̀yin sustain business nílẹ̀ ìlú yẹn. Jẹ́dín correct nǹkan kan ṣé wọn pé Yorùbá máa ń hype ara wọn páwọn làwọn control financial and capital market. Wọ́n gbé Gàmbàrí kó máa control policy, ministry and federal parastatals. Ṣèbí wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n fẹ́ àwọn tí ẹni tí ò bá ní BVN àbí kí náà pè wọ́n náà máa forfeit owó yín sí federal government. One single economic policy ó máa bá yí gbogbo capital market tí Yorùbá sọ pé òun control jẹ, financial market tó sọ pé òun control jẹ. O lè try yẹn pẹ̀lú white America, I'm going to come back, bóyá máa ní time láti sọ. Number 6 source of revenue, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. 100 billion wọ́n generate every year fún gbogbo àwọn ship tó bá park sí omi ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Gàmbàrí ò lómi, Yíbò ò lómi, but wọ́n bá generate owó yẹn tán wọ́n á kó lọ sí Abuja. Ẹni tí ò lómi ló máa gba the lion share. Ìwọ tó lómi tó jẹ́ Yorùbá, ó wá máa lọ sí party kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ máa bára yín sùn kẹ́ máa ṣòṣì. Nǹkan táwọn political leaders wá ń ṣe nìyẹn. Wọ́n kàn máa lọ party, wọ́n kàn máa borí kí àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké, àwọn ọmọ wẹ́wẹ́wẹ́, ìyàwó oníyàwó wọ́n kàn máa bá wọn sùn. Gàmbàrí ń control military mọ́ yín lọ́wọ́, Gàmbàrí ń control all the intelligence agency mọ́ yín lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n sọ pé Yorùbá is the most educated. Sori Bonny Kingdom ní River State is supposed to be the most developed area in the whole of Nigeria. Just that small island is generating 300 billion every year. Under regional government, owó yẹn àwọn olóyún wọn kàn fún federal government in 10% ni wọ́n fi owó yẹn turn around island wọn yẹn. People would like to live there. But lórí burúkú làwọn Gàmbàrí gbogbo 300 billion yẹn Haúsá ló ń benefit. Wọ́n kò lọ sí Abuja wọn làwọn ní Imo State, àwọn làwọn ní orí gbogbo Haúsá tó wà ní National Assembly, gbogbo àwọn representative Yorùbá àti Niger Delta ló ń san salary wọn. Gbogbo gómìnà tó wà nílẹ̀ Haúsá pátápátá àti ẹ̀mí àwọn pátápátá owó Yorùbá náà fi ń san salary fún wọn. Yorùbá wà lánàá sìgá lòun wà educated. Àwọn ọmọ yín kú of malaria. Malaria ń pa àwọn Yorùbá. Typhoid fever ń pa yín. There was a recent research tí ọ̀rẹ́ mi send sí ní UCH Ìbàdàn, doctor ni. Ó ní tí ń bá rí bí cancer ṣe ń pa àwọn Yorùbá. Mi mọ̀ pé Yorùbá tó ti ń kú pẹ̀lú cancer. Because mo mọ̀ pé àìsàn òyìnbó ni. Mo mọ̀ pé fibroid ló ń pa àwọn Yorùbá jù because nǹkan tó jẹ́ ká focus attention wa nìyẹn. But kì í synthesize àwọn èèyàn wa lé lórí because fibroid yẹn ń pa àwọn obìnrin wa gan. Mi ò túmọ̀ pé cancer náà tún ti wọ̀. So ẹ máa generate owó gbùrùgbùrù nílẹ̀ Yorùbá àwọn obìnrin àwọn ìyàwó yín wọ́n kú of cancer, àwọn ìyàwó yín wọ́n kú of fibroid, gbogbo yẹn ń lọ sílẹ̀ Haúsá. Kí ló kàn ẹ́ pẹ̀lú ilẹ̀ Haúsá? Ṣé ilẹ̀ Haúsá jẹ́ Yorùbá ni? White America tó bá jẹun tó bá yóò bẹ̀m̀bẹ̀ tán, ṣé wọ́n rántí Yorùbá? Àwọn English kan bá develop lu wọn tán, ṣé wọ́n rántí Yorùbá? Why tó owó Yorùbá ṣe máa lọ ṣàǹfààní fún owó àwọn Haúsá? Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn Haúsá pera wọn ní Muslim ni, kọ́ pa Saudi Arabia sọ̀rọ̀ pé fún wọn lówó tó fi develop ìlú wọn. Why are they controlling the Yorùbá wọn that way? Because àwọn political leaders wa ti ṣe olórí burúkú ni. Olòṣì ló pọ̀ jù nínú àwọn tí wọ́n ní kú síbi táṣọ wọn wà. Gbogbo àwọn the best brain wa wọ́n send wọn lọ sí abroad. Malaria ń pa Yorùbá ní 2017.